Greetings and salutations. I am your humble Adobe instructor, AJ Wood. It's Tip Tuesday and we're talking Photoshop CS5. It's been almost 2 weeks since our last episode, our Fix a Tiger photo series, and I appreciate you all hanging out. I also want to thank everyone for the emails and the comments while I was sick, but now I'm recovered and we're going to take a look at using clipping masks today inside of Photoshop. Let's go ahead and jump in. You can see on the screen in front of you I have two layers, and the top layer is a sunbather image, and if I hide it for a second you can see the bottom layer is a television set. What I'd like to do is create the illusion of this sunbather being on TV. Now I could grab my eraser tool and I could start erasing the sunbather picture, but of course if I do that, that's a permanent change. If I erase too much of the sunbather, I won't be able to bring her back tomorrow. I could also use a layer mask. Right? If I go ahead and make a quick selection, we could crop the sunbather down into the television set by using a layer mask, and this would require me to do some painting and kind of feathering and kind of get it adjusted. But let's take a look at a clipping mask. What I'm going to do is create a shape that I want to crop the sunbather picture into. Here are the steps. What I need to do is turn off the sunbather and select the background layer, and I'm going to change to the Magnetic Lasso. Now a quick tip for you, notice that the shape of the Magnetic Lasso doesn't really help us make a selection. If you turn on the caps lock key, now I have a crosshair. So I'm going to take a second and I'm going to trace the interior glass, because this is where the image would appear on the TV. So I'll just go around the TV, okay, go around that inside glass. And once I get this closed out, I just left click once. That closes the shape, and I'm going to take the shape of that particular selection and I'll press Command or Control J to jump the layer, and that simply means I copied that selection to its own layer. So if I hide the background, there's the shape of the glass. So all I need to do is I'll turn on the sunbather image, and if I turn it on, we simply press Command Option G or Control Alt G, and that creates the clipping mask. Look at that, that's pretty cool. If I want to turn it off, I can press the same keyboard shortcut, Command Option G or Control Alt G, and a clipping mask can be turned on or off. That's the great thing about a clipping group. Another way that we can do this is if you go to the Select or Layer menu, I can go and create a clipping mask this way, and we can also Option or Alt click between layers to create the clipping mask. So that creates a nice illusion. Now I'm not done yet. Hey, to finish that out, what I'm going to do is grab the layer that is the glass. I'll duplicate that again by pressing Command J or Control J on a PC. And if I drag this to the top, you'll see the sunbather disappears. The reason I'm doing this is if I drop the opacity down, I need to have a little bit of reflection off that glass that was in the original photo. Alright, so there is our illusion. Now I'm going to change some documents. Let's talk about some other quick things you can do with a clipping mask you might not be able to do with the eraser tool or layer mask. If I flip to a different document, I want you to see that I have multiple objects here, and if I hide them by turning them invisible, you'll see that I have a type layer. If I start to turn on these layers one by one, I want you to see I can go ahead and create the clipping mask, and if I do that, I've now clipped the shape of that object, that blue background, into the type. Here's the distinct advantage of a clipping mask. I can turn on multiple layers and I can clip multiple layers down into a mask. So once again, Command Option G or Control Alt G. And now I have multiple objects clipped down into that type shape. This also means that I can move these objects individually. Alright, so look at how I can move these objects around individually by selecting their layers, and they move within the shape. So this is the distinct advantage of using the clipping mask. My name's AJ Wood. I appreciate you hanging out for this episode. Please join me next week and we'll talk again. Have a great day.